Hey doing everyone, welcome back to It's Time to Go, a Big Brother Australia podcast, episode number 2. For today, interview number 2. Just did Edward, now we're doing Conor, who was Evictee number 8 for Big Brother Australia 2025. This man was the chef of the season. He took control of the kitchen and he took control of the house in some regards. I feel like a lot of people had a little bit of a conflict with him at some points, but they all loved him in the end, no matter what. He's a good guy. I had fun talking to him. Here he is. We'll talk more after the interview. It's Conor.
Hello, Ben. How you doing today?
Hey, Conor. How you feeling?
Yeah, great. You know, it's a bit weird being back in the real world, but getting used to it slowly.
I was just talking to Ed and I was asking him about what he missed when he got into the house, but what did you miss when you were coming, now that you're 12 hours out? What are you missing from being in the house? Do you think there's going to be anything you miss from being in there?
I don't know. You know what I mean? I think like a roller coaster. It was wonderful while I was on it, but now that I'm done, I'm quite happy being off.
Yeah. Are you going to be heading over to Dreamworld and getting on the roller coasters today?
Oh, I hope so. I literally was looking up at those things from the garden, going, hopefully I get to go there soon.
Have you spent much time at the Dreamworld park before?
Oh yeah, definitely. I live on the Gold Coast. So
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's literally like I could, if you were really strong, you could throw a rock from my house to Dreamworld. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you got any favorites there that you love going on?
The Claw. Well, I think it might even be called the Kraken now. I don't know.
The Claw, from my understanding, is reopening in like 4 days. They're opening the King Claw, the new and improved Claw.
Yeah. We heard it over the last week. The screams coming from it as the kind of first riders let off their terrified yells.
Yeah.
Very excited for that one to come back.
Yeah. What's the first 12 hours out of the house looked like for you? You've been connecting with loved ones. What have you been up to? You've been meeting fans. What have you been doing?
Mostly a whole lot and not a lot.
Okay.
You know, I got out, I did my stuff on the stage and then straight to the hotel. My family came to visit me, which was very nice. And then a difficult night of sleep. You know, it's kind of strange being in a new place, in a new bed and not being watched by a dozen cameras. Yeah. You know, I never thought it would be harder to sleep not being watched.
Oh, sure. Okay, right. What I did notice a few people pointed this out to me while watching the live show last night when you were coming up onto the stage, was that you gave a hug to two-time Big Brother winner, Reggie Bird, who I saw you made reference to a few times when you were in the house. You are a Big Brother fan, is that right?
Yeah. I love the concept and I love some of the amazing personalities that have come out of it over the years.
Yeah, totally. And do you feel like this season has there was a few of those personalities in the house that we're going to be seeing more of over the coming years?
You know, I hope so. You know, I think only time will tell. You know, I think always at the time people can be a little bit like, I don't know how this season was, but it's always in hindsight. I think that the personalities grow on people.
Talking about the personalities in there was some people you really got along with and some people you butted heads with. I think everyone sort of had some clashes and some butts of heads at some moments. When everyone comes out and you get to the reunion, you feel like that's all going to be water under the bridge, or is there a bit of tension with anyone lingering still, or are you past it all?
No, I think a lot of that comes down to the pressure cooker that the Big Brother house is.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of it doesn't maybe translate to television, just quite how difficult it can be being in there.
Sure.
You know, and how little things very quickly bubble into huge things.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, when you're back in the real world, you go, wait, why did I even care?
Well, on the outside, you're not really too concerned about rations and thinking about who gets the right amount of Tim Tams or lolly snakes. And I know that was a thing that some people were like stirring certain people and stirring you on earlier on in the show. But yeah, it's not something that in the real world you have to worry about too much.
No, not at all. You know, and I think that really was for me one of the big difficulties is, you know, I expected to be living with 11 other adults, and at times it felt like I was living with 10 teenage boys. Sure.
Well, you're sort of in the middle. You're about 30 years old, so you're about my age. We're sort of in between the, you know, older than the youngest, but definitely younger than the oldest in the house. Did you feel like you were a sort of mediator or a midpoint for maturity in the house? Because there were some people who were older who were a lot more, seemed like were a bit more immature, but some people who were younger who were a lot more mature. Did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's part of life, really, is you never really know what experiences are going to have shaped people. I don't think age is a good identifier of like how mature a person is.
Yes.
Often it's more about the life they've lived than how long they've lived.
Yes. One thing I wanted to get into was, I'm not sure, have you been online and engaging with seeing what people have been saying online at all? Is that, of any interest to you, or are you just sort of don't care at all?
No, not really. I'm not really a social media person in my regular life. So
Good.
It didn't really strike me as the first thing to do was to, get into it all.
Oh, no, I'm not encouraging or saying you should. There's nothing of interest. There's nothing too exciting. There's nothing too exciting happening on there. But one thing I saw like one or two people saying, and I'm sure this is something you get all the time, which is he hasn't, referring to you, he hasn't ticked in days, implying like that somehow that it's like is something you're putting on. And I was watching that going like, he's just getting comfortable in there. Is that what sort of what was happening?
Yeah, 100%. And that was like a big part of me wanting to be there, is I think that people have this particular idea of what Tourette's is in their heads. They think it's this kind of, always yelling, always swearing, 24/7. It never stops. When in reality, that's not what our lives are like. There are moments of it being very intense, and then there are moments of it being very calm. A lot of it is kind of stress and anxiety related. When we experience negative opinions and negative reactions to it, that just makes it worse. And so feeling all that acceptance and that love from my other housemates just made it a whole lot easier.
Awesome. One thing I did want to ask you about, and I know you talked about this very early on in the show, you had this tick and you said that's actually from the South Park episode on Tourette's. I wanted to ask you about that, because that was a favorite episode of mine when I was younger. I wanted to ask you about what that sort of meant for you and your community, that episode.
I think with Tourette's people, it's always a bit of a mixed bag as to people's reactions to these kind of things.
Yeah.
For me, it's my personal favorite because I think it is the most real depiction of Tourette's that we've had in media up until, my entry to Big Brother.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, and for sure, you know what I mean? And the tics in that South Park episode are far more accurate as to what the variety of tics really are than just the swearing and obscene gestures that often it can be depicted as.
And I'll just ask you this as a follow-up. Generally, you a South Park fan?
Oh, yeah, massively. I think that they are always doing great things. They're always kind of pushing the boundaries of like what people are thinking, I think which is good, I think, which is often what I'm trying to do.
Sure.
I'm always looking to grow and push my own boundaries. And I think in doing so, I like to push other people's boundaries while I'm at it.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Hey, you were very much a sort of rock and a central point for the house, being the one who would do a lot of the cooking in the house. Did you expect going in there that was going to be a responsibility that you would take up with ease? Is that you in your day-to-day life? You're happy doing that?
Yeah. I think I heard a couple of times that I've been doing it that maybe I was doing it for a gameplay reason. When actually it was the exact opposite. I was doing it for my own mental well-being.
Okay, gotcha.
I really love cooking.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was actually like a meditative practice.
Yeah, sure.
Getting to cook for me was more about my own enjoyment than anybody else's.
Yeah. Do you think there was anything you were doing for gameplay in there, or was it all just the social side of getting along, doing your thing and having fun and seeing what happened?
No. I think if I was trying to play the game, I think I wouldn't have got into as many arguments. To be honest with you,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Who do you think do you think there's anyone in there that was playing a bit more of a strategic game? I know Vinny is someone that was accused of being fake a bunch of times, and understandably, I think if that was me as well, that would be getting under my skin if I was just being authentically myself. But do you think there was anyone in there who was maybe not being 100% true to themselves, or a bit of a game player?
Oh, honestly, I agree with the Vinny stuff. Not that he's fake, but he even actually, I'm assuming it didn't make the edit, but literally that evening that Jane said that he was a fake, he like cornered me in the bathroom as I was brushing my teeth and said, "Do you think I'm fake?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I don't think you're fake at all. But I do think you're a game player. I do think you're very careful about who you speak to and what you speak to them about.
Yeah.
And I do think you're very careful about being on everyone's good side." But that doesn't make you a fake person.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big difference in my mind about being a fake person and being a person who's playing a game. You know, and I don't think Vinny was fake, but I do think he was trying to play the game of Big Brother.
You know what's very interesting is that he did come out on opening night and say that he didn't like, he came out and he sort of said, "I do not like fake people. I like authenticity. I'm going to be true to myself." And then at the very end, one of the last remarks he made was that I do have some sort of like, I'm paraphrasing, but some gameplay, like some sort of tricks up my sleeve for how I'm going to go about things. So he did openly acknowledge it. He wasn't completely covert about it. He can't like flat out deny it, I don't think.
No, not at all. I think what it was is like a missing communication. You know, Jane already had a couple of those. And I think that like even Jane didn't necessarily mean that he was fake. I think she also meant that he was very careful to place himself in particular scenarios.
I was asking Edward about this just before. Jane and Mia, you mentioned Jane, they both live down my way. They both got matching Big Brother logo tattoos. Are you going to be jumping on the train? Are you going to be joining them?
You know, I would love the idea. You know, I think I would like to see what my other housemates do as well.
Yep.
You know, maybe not get them in the same place. Maybe me and Ed will get matching ones in somewhere else.
Yeah, they both got like the inside of the wrist, and it was quite big. And I was going, "Oh, I would have gone for like maybe like a smaller on the ankle type thing."
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a big moment in my life, but I don't think it's that big.
Yeah. You're a fan of Big Brother. You're a fan of Australian reality television shows. What are some other things you're watching, or some other things that inspired you to want to go on Big Brother?
Honestly, Big Brother was always like my biggest favorite.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I think there's something about just locking 12 people in a house and seeing how things pan out that really intrigues me.
For sure.
You know, I think I'm always looking for ways to grow as a person, looking to push myself. I think Big Brother really did just seem like the perfect way to do that, without having to go to a tropical island and starve to death.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and doing ridiculous, over the top physical challenges every single day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell by my physique that was not for me.
Who are some other housemates you really got along with well in there? Who are some people you're going to be catching up with once they get out, or that are already out?
I think Vinny, definitely. I got along with him great. You know, I say he's a game player, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy his company.
You're not in that. You're not in the house anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then Abiola for sure. You know,
everyone's saying that. Yeah, everyone's saying that.
I was the most hurt when Abiola left.
Okay.
You know, I knew she had to, because she needed the money and she wasn't having the best time in the house.
Sure.
But, you know, I think she struck me the most when she left. And I will for sure be trying to catch up with her in Melbourne.
I think from her perspective, it was like she only had a week left or so. She knew she only had not long left of the show, and that money's put in front of you, and the odds are there of, hey, the odds aren't that great of winning the thing as a whole. I'd take the money. Yeah. It's like,
yeah, 100%. I don't know if you heard my song about her, but I said, you know, she got 15K and she's going to fix her mum's car and visit the dentist.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like that really stuck with me. You know, the fact that like she wasn't just doing anything with the money. She had particular plans. And one of the biggest ones for me was getting her car serviced. That's the only thing her mum left her, was that car. And so being able to have the money to repair that, get it on the road and get it surviving, I think is going to be huge for her.
I hadn't heard the story of that car until after she'd left, and Alana told it in the diary room, and that was quite beautiful. Yeah. I got to ask you, because we got to wrap up. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win? And also, who do you want to win?
We'll start with who I want to win. I really want Emily to win.
Yes.
You know, in that I think she is the other most real person. You know, I think that she has always been completely herself, you know, unabridged. She loves her Scotch fingers. She loves her original flavour, Smith's Chippies. Like, she is straight out of an Australian comedy at times. Very deadpan, but always got a witty remark.
Yeah.
And then who do I think will win? I do think there's a real powerhouse between Colin and Coco.
Totally.
They've both got huge audiences. We can tell from the roller coaster above us and all the people screaming down at them all day.
Gotcha.
But I really hope that the Australian people rally behind Emily. She is just so pure of heart that I think that she really deserves to take it home.
It's funny. Michael was the first evictee, and he said Emily to me, and at the time I went, I don't see it. But then as the show's progressed, the authenticity and the character has just really shone through, and she's absolutely my favorite in there at the moment as well.
Yeah, she's a gem.
Awesome. All right, well, you're going to be at the live show tonight. Will I see you on TV tonight?
Maybe. I can't make any guarantees, but I'll be there.
You're going to try your best.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always trying to get more TV time.
Amazing. Hey, Conor, it was awesome watching you on the show, and thanks so much for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ben. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. See you then.
All right, bye.
And there it is. It's Evictee number 8. It is Conor. He did great. He did fantastic. Not to say I didn't think he wouldn't do great. I thought he'd do great, but he made it all the way until the second last night. So proud of him. Good job, Conor, if you're listening. I'm not sure how many of the housemates listen. I don't know if any of the housemates from the current season listen. I know some past housemates listen, and I know some family members of the current show listen. So what's up if you're Vinny's dad? and what's up if you're Trevor, the winner of Big Brother 2004. We love you. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow when I do the interviews with the runners-up and the winner of Big Brother 2025. Until then, peace.